8 ways to impress your dinner guests. You want to be the host with the most? I know you do. If you follow these 8 simple tips, well, your neighbors are going to be fighting for invites. Hello, wine lovers. I'm Erin, the founder and Chief Sommelier here at the Wine Sisters. Welcome to our YouTube channel. This is the place where every week we show you how to eat, drink, and entertain like a pro. And it is the season of entertaining, and I know you want to be the host with the most, and I've got 8 ways to absolutely blow it out of the water. Seriously, everybody will want to be decking your halls. Oh my. Well, if you've been following along for a while, you know that the devil is always in the details, and it's all about going that little extra mile with some forethought and some planning. If you didn't catch last week's video, which was all about how to put a knockout Christmas dinner together in only 7 days, go check that out right here. But maybe wait till the end, because you'll definitely want to hear these 8 tips that I've got for you today. So let's get right to it, shall we? Tip number 1, be there to greet your guests. I know this sounds super obvious, but how many times have you shown up to a friend's house only to have them shout from the kitchen, "Hey, how are you? Make yourself at home." And then you're left to awkwardly entertain yourself in their living room, flipping through their television. It's weird, it's impersonal, it's awkward. One of the best parties I ever went to was in my early 20s, and it's stayed with me ever since. It's only about 5 years ago. So what happened was the host threw open the door, had a drink in her hand for everybody, and greeted us with a huge smile. I thought that was so impressive, and it made me feel so welcome, and it set the tone for the evening right away that I have made sure that I and all of my clients do it every single time. Bonus points if you have a large enough entranceway. Set up a nice champagne bucket and a few glasses so you can have a beautiful greeting station for when your guests arrive. And point number 2, I know what you're thinking. How am I going to be there to greet my guests when I'll have so many things to finish up in the kitchen? Well, in the words of everybody's culinary patron saint, Ina Garten, store-bought is just fine. And indeed it is, friends. Take a whole load off your mind and scratch a bunch of things off your to-do list by picking up something great at the bakery or at the butcher's shop, or even ordering a great cheese plate in advance from your local cheesemonger. They'll put something together for you that looks like an artist's piece, an artist's masterpiece. You know what? Your friends are not going to have any better of a time if you're trying to outdo Martha Stewart with your famous deviled eggs. Don't even bother. Instead, just lay out the things that you've got with careful care and curation that other people have prepared, and people are going to have just as good a time, and so are you. Point number 3, set a beautiful table ahead of time. We talked about this in our 7-day plan for hosting a Christmas dinner. We talked about this in our 2-month plan to hosting a Thanksgiving dinner. But what you always want to do is set your table well in advance. And this doesn't have to be fussy, and this doesn't have to be ornate. Simply setting out a couple bowls of seasonal fruit as your centerpiece. Maybe if you wanted to legally go to your local hiking trail or a nearby forest and get some twigs and branches, set something with care and precision and make it really inviting and fun. And here's another way that you could do that. Consider your place cards so people aren't trying to play musical chairs and duck, duck, goose trying to figure out where they're going to sit. If you already lay out some place cards, but in a really fun way, it can make a great talking point over your dinner party. What do I mean by that? Let's say you take a whole bunch of little quotes from some of your favorite Christmas movies, and under each quote, that's where you put somebody's name. But if this isn't Christmas time, maybe what you do and it's Halloween, maybe you take those tarot cards and how you have a tarot card with somebody's name on it so people can mix and match and see what their tarot reading actually is. The point is, by having a little bit of fun, keeping things relaxed and casual, it creates a really great way to start conversation as well as invite people to the table in a relaxed and fun manner. Now, point number 4, serve a signature cocktail. I serve a signature cocktail at all of my events. In fact, one that's great for this time of year is our hot buttered bourbon apple cider. You can see that in this video right here. It's absolutely a gorgeous way to greet guests to your home, and it makes your home smell fantastic. But pick a signature cocktail, and that will give people an anticipation of the evening. And don't forget about the people who aren't drinking. We have some great ideas for some prohibition or temperance cocktails, otherwise known as non-alcoholic cocktails, that you can see in this video right here as well. Point number 5, This is where you're going to think ahead and do those little tiny touches that actually make a massive impact. Before serving the bread, put it in a low oven for a minute or two so it gets nice and warm. Before serving the butter, take it out of the fridge an hour or two. Make sure it's the fresh stuff, not the stuff you used this morning that still has the toast crumbs in it, but take it out of the fridge an hour or two so it's nice and soft for people to spread. Consider putting little salt and pepper shakers throughout the table so that way if somebody feels that they need a little bit more salt, they don't have to get embarrassed or awkward and ask for more salt. It's just right there in front of them and they can subtly season the food to their preference and their liking. And even little things like a stack of extra towel in the washrooms, nobody wants to use that damp one. So just thinking ahead to these little tiny details make people really grateful for the care that you've put into inviting them to your house. Now, point number 6. Let's not forget about the little ones, shall we? If this is going to be a family affair or where we have some of the little ones in tow, set up a craft station in the basement or off to the corner where they can keep themselves entertained. You might even want to go so far as to consider employing one of the older kids to keep them entertained or even hiring a babysitter to keep them out of everyone's hair. For Christmas time, maybe they all decorate ornaments. For Easter, maybe they all decorate an Easter egg. For Halloween, maybe they all carve their own pumpkin. But whatever it is, give it a fun activity that can immerse the kids for a really long time. So not only are they having a great time, but when they're having a great time, their parents are also having a great time. And here's a little hint. For those of us who aren't parents, when the kids are entertained, we're really having a great time. Point number 7. This is where you want to make it ahead. You don't want to get bogged down in the kitchen. You want to be out having fun with your party and your guests want to see you too. So make really comfy, homey, welcoming meals that everybody loves, but that you can just throw in the oven and forget about. Think about things like stews and coq au vin and lasagnas and pasta bakes. These things everybody appreciates and it frees up your time so much more. And finally, the home stretch, point number 8, make extra. One of the most impressive parties I ever went to was when a friend's mom made 2 turkeys. One for us to eat during the evening and one for her to carve up and send home with us so we could have the leftovers, knowing full well that really one of the best parts of any holiday dinner is the leftovers the next day. I thought that was such a thoughtful touch. I've never forgotten it. So do make sure you make extra and send people home with their little care packages. A few bonus points that you might want to consider doing: if you have homemade jams or preserves or pickles or spiced nuts, send them home with a little thank you gift to say, thanks so much for coming. Here's a little munchie the next day. So when you're feeling tired and you just want to lounge around in your pajamas after spending late night here decking the halls with me, I've got you covered. A little leftovers, a few nice little things to munch on throughout the day, and they're gonna be thinking about your party for a long time. Those 8 simple tricks, I guarantee you, are going to go a long way. Not everybody thinks about them, but make sure you do them and you will go down in history as the host with the most. Now, if you have any questions or comments on how you like to throw a party, please leave them in the comments below. I definitely will get back to you as soon as I see them. And if you think you have a friend who could maybe use a little help planning out their party, please send along this video. And while you're in the sending mood, why don't you consider giving us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the bell so you can be alerted to when we drop a video every single week. I'll be back next week, friends, with some great ideas for last-minute Christmas appetizers. You won't want to miss it. So do hit that bell and I'll see you right back here next week. And until then, stay well, drink better.